Welcome back to this week's episode of the Hoggie Shuffle. Got your host Preston here, co-host Robbie, and honestly, he's back here again. He's now a new co-host. Honestly, he's been back official. He's coming in. It's going to be great. We got Justin here as well. So,
assistant to the regional manager.
Obviously, this is a show where we get lost in the shuffle. With the season officially wrapped up, we're switching things up a little bit now. There's obviously no game recaps to talk about, no scoreboard watching, no breaking down third and shorts from Sunday. So instead, we're going to dive into what comes next. We're going to talk about draft boards, player development, who's rising, who's falling, who might get lost in the shuffle heading into 26. Don't worry, we're going to still keep it trench heavy, as always. We always want to talk about the big boys. But still talking about real football, breaking down the details that actually win games, because when the season ends, football doesn't really stop. So buckle up. Let's get into it. And as always, let's get lost in the shuffle.
Let's get lost.
Let's go.
So first segment we're going to go into is 3 bold takes that we might regret. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll let Robbie start off with the first one here.
All right, everyone gets one. We're going to start here with the Raiders, baby. We got 3 quarterbacks. We'll go in the top 5. Let's get into it. We already know who number 1 is. Mendoza!
I think you might see a switch. I don't know.
It's in that place. It's already being talked about as potential QB1 for the Raiders, which is real scary because we can't do any worse than we did last year. And then we move on to a lot of people think that this guy's better than Mendoza, Dante Moore Jr. He still has the NFL traits. NFL teams drool over. He's fast, he's quick, he can get rid of the ball, all those things, All it takes is one desperate team trading up and the board breaks, you guys. You know what I mean? It could be one person, one team saying, okay, man, we really need that quarterback. What do you guys think? You think Mendoza? You think Dante Moore?
I think neither are going to be great NFL quarterbacks, to be 100% with you. I think that, in the past, you can see in the last 5-6 years in the NFL that these number 1 picks typically don't pan out to being the best guys in the NFL. It's these guys that have the slow starts that come out a little later, second, third round Qs typically are the guys that end up, becoming the starting guys on rosters. Now, you're always going to have those number 1, number 2 guys that are going to be top tier mediocre quarterbacks, but lately those aren't the guys winning Super Bowls. Now I know the last one just won a Super Bowl. I get it. But I don't know. I just don't think that you're going to see. I don't think these guys are going to be good in the NFL. I really don't.
I got to go. If I'm the Raiders, I own the team. Everything is there. I got to go Mendoza. I've never seen what a quarterback like this win the Heisman, go undefeated, beat Ohio State twice in the same year. Kept poised, humbled, comes from a good parenting family. Everyone's seen his mom and pa there. This kid's well-grounded. This kid has a good team behind him. Selfless. All of his interviews are great. Just in that aspect alone, being such a team guy, locker room guy, you can't, he's almost like he has this autism to him. But it's one of those lovable things where this guy, it's nothing about him. And we've seen the punishment and what he paid the price just for that bowl. I think you bring him in. You guys got Ashton Genty. You got Bowers. You got decent, rough O-line. But I think that'll come along. But he has weapons.
You got money to spend.
I just think when you bring these young quarterbacks in, I think it could work. But it's all about your weapons. If you have nobody, they're not gonna excel no matter who you are. I don't think Darnold wins if he doesn't have Cooper Kupp, Smith-Njigba, Walker, Barner. He has studs, right? Well, right now Vegas has some studs. They know they got the best tight end in the league. Yeah, they got the best tight end in the league. They got one of the best running backs, I think, that's going to come up. Ashton Genty had no O-line, but he still put up huge numbers for a rookie in a situation where he was in. You put Mendoza in there. I just think the character he is, I think you're mouth-watering for a guy like this. I don't know who else you take. If you're Raiders, who else are you going to go with? You could trade and try to get Lamar Jackson, but even him, he's been on a proven cast the whole time. He hasn't won had much playoff success. So I think you got to start fresh. You got to rebuild. And I think in 5 years with the guys you have, I think you can make it grow. But Mendoza for me, number 1.
we always say, teams learn their lessons. They haven't. Need beats value every single time when the jobs are on the line. And that's so true. Like, you look at the teams in the last 20 years just drafting guys that we thought were going to be huge NFL stars. And they fizzled out in 3 seasons. By the time the rookie contract was up, gone. Look at what the hell is his name? Robert
RG3.
RG3. You look at RG3.
That was injuries, though. To be fair, that was injuries.
But you've seen other quarterbacks take knee injuries. Your quarterback's had a knee injury, had surgery, came back, still can run.
Dude, he got his knee destroyed.
I'm not saying that, but just because
Tom Brady had knee surgery,
big time knee surgery. What my point being there is that that guy could have been Robert III, could have been one of the greatest talents we ever done seen, but he had to go for an extra yard after he was already in the first down spot.
He also played for Washington at the time when Washington was straight booty cheeks. He had nobody protecting him. He had maybe one guy to throw to, no running backs. Like, it was tough for him.
This is the Washington curse, though. We all seen Mr. Quinn, the worst coach in the league, let Daniels run a meaningless bootleg, and he could have wrecked his whole career with that elbow going out.
Season was over that day.
Like, really? Like, on a meaningless, come
on.
Stupid.
Right. Pressing you up next.
Now, this one I believe in a little more for sure. The overreaction number 2 is that edge rushers are more valuable than quarterbacks in 26. And I truly believe this. You look at the Eagles the last few years, the guys we've gotten on the edge, man, it's been pretty ridiculous. And most guys get coming up right now, these strong edge rushers. I think they're more important than trying to draft a quarterback in the first round. You look at plug-and-play NFL disruptors. Keldrick Falk gives you an inside-out flexibility. He's got elite pressure, hides behind bad coverage and average quarterback play. Reality is, you miss on a quarterback, you reset the franchise. You miss on an edge rusher, you'll survive. And I don't believe that. You want to look at that sentence right there. I think that you risk on a quarterback, you take a guy that could potentially change your franchise. But again, look at Washington this year. Kid did great last year. Everyone kind of, I get what you're saying, that he could bootleg kind of hurt him, but realistically, even before that, he wasn't nearly as good as after one season because the NFL defensive coordinators watch the film. They know what to beat you on. They know all the little things you were doing that make you successful. And that's why, previously in the past, you've seen like the Wildcat be really good in the 210s, and all of a sudden, after a couple of years, nothing. You've seen the RPO be really, really successful, and after a couple of years, nothing. Because these teams, they identify the little things they need to do to stop those things. Versus a guy off the edge, man, you're constantly changing your game. You're constantly pulling different moves. You're pulling the ghost rush. You're pulling the swims, the rips, the spins, all these different things that can set up to be a successful edge rusher. And it's not going to cost you a whole lot in your first few years. So if you can draft a solid edge rusher and get him for his 5 years on a rookie deal, you're going to be way better off trying to make the Super Bowl and then taking a quarterback and developing him up and having a guy that's, in 5 years going to be the guy. Again, that's my take. That's the way I look at it. I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Well, I'm more on that Bill Belichick regime. I'm not talking about the Patriots. Just that plug and play and drafting guys, and once they're good, get their value out of them. Like I love my boy Max Crosby, and I'm sure Justin loves his guy Watt. But I'll tell you one thing: 2 first-round picks, or even a first-round pick and somebody good, would be, in my eyes, more beneficial right now than having to float and wonder if Max is leaving or if he's staying, or all those questions. And you just look at guys like Myles Garrett, like that guy's irreplaceable. Is Max Crosby irreplaceable? 100% irreplaceable. It's like you're never going to go out and get yourself another Max Crosby. We had Khalil Mack, and then we got Max Crosby, but still, Max Crosby's no Khalil Mack. And Khalil Mack, I believe if he'd stayed with the Raiders, he would have been Hall of Fame bound. And I really think that, by going to 3 teams, that he really earned that.
No, I agree with you there, Rob. With these edge rushers, obviously it's a very high-paid position. It's very flashy. I know what you're saying, pressing again for 3 years, so you got to use it. But we all seen a guy named Chase Young come into this play with Washington. This guy was a beast. Guy looked like a freak of nature. He was going to be the next Myles Garrett, and bust. What I don't like about edge rushers, like the guy that I am high on in this draft is that Arvil Reese from Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he's a linebacker type edge rusher, he's kind of like a James Harrison.
But those are the best ones right now.
I think if you have just a straight edge rusher, if you look at TJ Watt, Crosby, and Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett, number one, obviously. Those three, where are they? Those three teams, they're nowhere close to winning it. So for me, the whole league is to win. You want to win Super Bowls. You want to be relevant, or at least give yourself a product to cheer for to win a playoff game, right? Well, out of those three teams, I don't think they've won a playoff game since they've had all three of Miles Garrett, Crosby, or TJ Watt since they've had them. So what
Browns won
is
one.
important?
Browns won one with Mayfield. They won a playoff game.
They won off of Mayfield and Hunt crazy antics. So they won one in probably the last, let's say, 6 years. Right. And it just goes to show you, to me, I'd rather have a balanced defense. I'd rather have good D tackles to plug the middle, and you got good linebackers on the outside. It could really help you. But these edge rushers, I think they're too flashy, and I don't know why they get paid so much. For me, like you're saying, I would trade Max Crosby and whoever and try to flank in another draft pick to get what you need. Like, got some really good.
And that's what I mean. I was meaning that in a sense of taking the young guys as edge rushers. You don't want to pay a franchise guy an edge rusher, like paying a guy like Miles, paying a guy like TJ. Yeah, it's great for the stat book, but when you're paying somebody $60-80 million, it's not going to win you games, right? Versus you get a young guy in there. I always like to use examples like Nakobe Dean, for example, on the Eagles, where he's coming up finally on his contract year next year here. But the last 2 seasons, he's been an absolute integral part in us going to the Super Bowls. I know this last season didn't do great, but it's 2 years in a row of being competitive going through 2022, 23 years, I guess. Yeah, 23. And, being an absolute dog. You get those solid D linemen coming in. It changes your whole outlook on the game. Look at DeMarcus Lawrence in the Super Bowl. Now, again, I know that's a guy and his veteran on his way out, but I mean, he made such a difference in that Super Bowl. It was ridiculous. He pressured so much.
Mm-hmm. And he's not that much either.
No, that's the thing, is you're getting an older guy, veteran minimum coming in, but he's developed. He's at that age where he's not going to get the big contracts anymore. And I get that for sure. But, when you're going against guys like Trent Williams and Lane Johnson's, you need someone that can compete.
Yeah. And you got to find value late, because a guy like we all seen Strahan, Julius Peppers, Lawrence, all these guys, Paul Pierce, or not Paul Pierce, Paul Jr. or whatever from the Giants. Remember
Justin Pierre-Paul?
Yeah, Justin Pierre-Paul. Those guys made your career and were amazing and cheap.
Von Miller got paid, won the Super Bowl, and won the MVP.
Yeah.
Right?
So, to me, like, don't get me wrong, Arvil Reese deserves to be top 3. I'm a firm believer as you. I would draft quarterbacks until you miss if you're the top 3 draft picks. I just such
now we're already rolling into this, so let's just keep talking about it. Going into our mock draft, like looking at your picks 1 through 32. We already talked about Mendoza, Dante Moore, Arvil Reese. We got Falk at number 4 from the list we got. I think you said from ESPN, right?
Yeah.
Guy's a bit of a monster, D lineman at Auburn. I think he could be a pretty solid dude. Again, do I think he's a 4th overall pick? I don't know. He's an edge D tackle kind of type where he rotates in that 3rd spot. I think he's probably going to fall early in the 2nd round. I really do. I don't see him being a 4th overall pick.
I don't know if it's worth it for me.
But that's where you get your value, though. That's where you get your value. Like, what is he? He's I don't even have his size on here. He's a big dude, though, like 100%.
I look at guys like later on in this draft, like you go to those 2 studs from Utah, and we're talking about O-linemen, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you look at those, what is that, Spencer Fanu and that Lonu or whatever, those 2 boys, they're all 6'6", 310 pounds, and Utah was, if it wasn't for Texas Tech, they'd be right there. I just think you could get value with them later on in your draft. It's actually a really good O-line draft this year. There's some big boys coming up.
We got that Francis, now excuse me if I butcher this, Magoa,
yeah. Monster dude. Like, he only got 2 sacks. 826 snaps last year. 2 sacks is pretty wild. Right. Like, he's a starting right tackle all day long.
6'6", 290.
But you look at it 4th overall. So who like, I don't know. I should pay attention to it more. But who's drafting 4th? Because you got number 1 Oakland, number 2 is Jets, number 3
New York.
Is it Cleveland?
Jets. No, Giants.
Giants are 3rd, and then 4th Cleveland.
Maybe it's the Jets and then the Giants.
So he's going to go 4th overall. So I look at 1 and 2, you got Oakland and
You got Vegas, Jets. What is it? Arizona, Tennessee, Giants. Then you got Cleveland, Washington, New Orleans, KC, Cincinnati, Miami, Dallas. Atlanta traded their pick to LA. Then you got Baltimore, Tampa. Indy gave it to the Jets for 16. You got Detroit, Minnesota, Carolina. Green Bay gave it to Dallas for 20th. And you got Pittsburgh, Chargers, Eagles. Jacksonville gave their pick to the Browns at 24th. And you got Chicago, Buffalo, San Fran, Houston. Then Rams, Denver, New England, Seattle.
Yeah. See, this is where if I'm fourth, how do you and you're having your pick as Tennessee, how do you not go for Jeremiah Love as the running back from Notre Dame?
See, I think they're going to go edge rusher. I think they go for a guy. Where do we have him on here? The Reuben Bain Jr., that D lineman out of Miami. I think that's where Tennessee goes for.
He's not even on the list, Justin.
Jeremiah Love's got to be up on that list.
Yeah, that guy out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got him at 18 on here, Rob.
He's the best running back in the draft. Yeah. There's no one going to top him for running back. I seen what he did. That guy, man, the will to keep running. The guy's athleticism's crazy. I look over at Tennessee. I think they got Pollard in there right now. That's Jeremiah Love's spot right there. And you got to give some running room. That guy will go, and you got to O-line it after that. But you need some offensive pieces. You need playmakers. And I know I hate saying this about the big boys, but you need some flash. You need some playmakers, man. You got to go for
stats. 1125 yards, 17 touchdowns, 28 receptions, and 237 rushing yards for a total of 1,602 yards for 2025 season. Wow.
Mm-hmm. The guy's a stud, man. The guy, and you know who he's playing? No slouches. Notre Dame doesn't just have an easy schedule. They almost won the national championship the past year.
Yep. And the reality is they probably should have been in the playoffs. It was a little bit bullshit they didn't get to go in the playoffs. That's why I really don't love how the playoff committee sets it up. I think it's fully just stupid.
Anytime you have voting, you have politics.
Always.
Right? So, but like if it's me, man, that Jeremiah Love, he's my sleeper pick.
I agree with this next pick here. Giants taking Carnell Tate. I think that's a solid pick. Ohio State's exactly. Ohio State's receiver university. Like, how many guys come out of Ohio State that are absolute dogs at receiver? I think, what is he, 6'3", just about 200 pounds, 195. It's got great vertical production, solid size. Weakness probably needs a little more separation, but I mean, overall, he's a solid wide receiver number 2, just coming in as a rookie. Like, he really is.
That's a tough one because I believe they have good wide receivers. I think with
but think about having him and Neighbors together though out there. I think that young man can sling the rock to those two, and that could be a little deadly.
Well, that Wandale Robinson's pretty good too, right? He was getting big yards at the end. They got I'd be almost looking at that Sadiq from Oregon, that tight end, if I was them. That boy's a baller, 250 pounds. That guy could catch and he could block. And so I think when you have him, it's another weapon, but helps in your run game too. And you're getting a receiver out of it.
Now, the toss-up on this one is we got Browns sticking Francis Magano. I could see that. I could also see them going with that Spencer Fano guy. Like, I think Fano could be the guy that goes over Magano.
Yeah.
Magano? Yeah,
I think that Spencer Fano there from the two boys from Utah, both 6'6",
like he's 6'6", 300 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, how do you? He's a monster, crazy. Dude.
Like, how Utah didn't go far.
Caden Proctor, 6'7", 360 out of Alabama.
Big dude.
That's a big dude.
Big mean guy.
Guard, man. That's a big guard.
Well, this is the thing with that Fanu and that Lanu.
Yeah.
That Caleb Lanu. Both of those guys play tackle both sides and guards too, so they are versatile. The one thing you're not going to get, what you're getting out of your boy there, is you're not going to get the arm reach, but you're getting a little bit more athleticism, being 310 than 360, and you still got 6'6", 6'7". You're right in the same area, right? And Utah had a good team this year, man. Like they were 12-2, I think they were. Like Texas Tech just kind of snuck them out, but they didn't. That was a tough goal for them. That Utah team was good.
What do we think about Ty Simpson?
Number 7. I don't know.
What
do
is
you got?
this?
Well, number 7's next pick here. So that'd be our Washington pick coming up. You're thinking Ty Simpson at number 7?
Well, I mean, not for Washington. Washington has Daniels already, so I'm thinking Washington, they're going to need running back, O-line to protect Daniels. And it looks like they might be getting rid of their wide receiver that they just got last year from...
They're already going to get rid of that guy from San Francisco, Debo?
I think so.
Like, see, honestly,
McLaurin's your guy.
I'm thinking Ty Simpson goes to the Steelers. I do. I think they go for a quarterback.
Think they're going to trade? You think he'll be there in the 20s?
I do.
No, I think Ty Simpson goes second.
You think so? You think he's going number 2 overall?
If you're the Jets, you have to get a quarterback.
I don't know. I think the Jets go for the edge rusher, man. I really do. I don't see them going. And they got still
Willis or something like that.
There's never been a team in NFL history that's pissed more quarterbacks away than the New York Jets.
That's why I don't see them doing it, man. New GM, I don't think they're trying to rebuild in 1 year. I think they're trying to take it over 5.
They've been rebuilding since 1969.
Well, I guarantee you one thing. If they don't address their quarterback situation, whether getting Malik Willis in there or trading for Kyler Murray, I think you see Garrett Wilson leave. I think you see Breece Hall leave. I think you have to owe it for a guy that stayed through all this stuff. And Garrett Wilson, that guy's a true Jet, man. And he stuck around for all of it, still gives it out. If you don't reward him with a top 3 quarterback this year, you don't have Garrett Wilson anymore. You're not going to get a wide receiver in the draft. And now you're probably going to lose Breece Hall. You might lose Breece Hall this year.
Well, because what, do the Jets have 2 first-round picks?
Yeah, they got, 2 and 16.
Yeah. Like, if I'm there, I'm going quarterback, and I'm going to try to grab one of those big O linemen from Utah.
But, I mean, they could. They could take Dante Moore Jr., Fernando Mendoza, depending on which one goes first. I'm pretty sure Vegas is taking Mendoza.
I don't know how you don't take the Heisman winner. I just don't get it.
Because again, this is the first time a Heisman winner's ever won the Natty, right? And you have the situation where it all pans out winning like that, and you look at it and like, yes, he did such a good thing for his team, and I watched him all the way through the playoffs, but I don't see him being a successful NFL quarterback. He doesn't have the attributes and the actual arm talent to do it. I think he gets eaten alive if he goes to start at the Raiders.
Well, you don't need the arm talent. Look at Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but the Raiders don't have the defense to carry him like they did.
I think you have the pieces in place. You just have to have a manager not throwing the ball away. Like Geno Smith, I bet if you put a bet on Bet365 that they were going to throw 2 picks a game, you're winning every fucking week.
I just think Mendoza's the kind of guy who needs 2 to 3, man. He needs 2 to 3 to develop as a quarterback in the NFL. And if they throw him in there, flash in the pan, it's going to ruin his whole career. It's going to be over.
And it very well could.
It could, but I look at Fernando Mendoza, and I think he would feel it's a blessing just to be playing the game, where a lot of guys aren't. No matter who you put into that chair, it's not going to be good. But I think a guy like Fernando Mendoza is not going to go down on himself. He's not going to bury himself mentally. I think he's mentally strong enough to take these years of abuse and trust the process. And when you have a guy saying, guys, it's okay, trust the process, and you just keep going through it, all of a sudden, hey, man, this guy's getting his ass kicked left and right back there. Instead of fingering people in the crowd and losing your stuff like Geno Smith is, you got a guy that's like, no, guys, it's okay. We're gonna get better. We're going to get better. And he would just continue that thing, and I think that's infectious. I don't know about Moore. I think I don't know these guys' character because I didn't see the interviews like I've seen Mendoza's interviews. But, man, this guy says the right things, and that team loves him. You know, all those guys love him. When his O-line won that award for the Rose Bowl MVP, he was freaking out, man.
Oh, 100%. Like, he's got great mentals for sure. I get that. But I just don't see him having the talent to do it.
I think that'll fuel him. I think
you got Tim Tebow 2.0.
I like Tim Tebow.
And Tim Tebow didn't do anything wrong.
Tim Tebow played for 5 years in the NFL.
Didn't do one thing wrong. Did nothing but win. Wasn't his fault that Peyton Manning came over, and hey, he still probably would have won. He beat.
But there were other teams that he could have went to and played at, and he didn't. He had to come back as a tight end because he couldn't cut it in the NFL as a quarterback.
Yeah, that was a little bit of politics involved.
I mean, I agree with a certain point of that for sure. I get what the whole kneeling thing and everything that was going on at the time, but I don't think that, other than the one good playoff run he had with Broncos that year, I mean, he really didn't do anything else.
If they just would have let him develop, it would have been better.
Exactly what I'm saying with Mendoza. That's what I mean. You got to develop. I think him at a bench role would mean so much more than he goes in as a starting quarterback.
If we had somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And I get it. Like, I get the fact that they're not going to, you have an opportunity to cut Geno and not pay a guy and bring a rookie in, like 100%. Any team would do it. You're going to take the Heisman guy and do it. I just, and call me a hater. I've been a Bo Nix hater all season. Kind of proved me wrong a little bit. He did good things, and I get it, but I'm always going to be that hater against these young guys coming in. I just think there's a lot of better situations they could go into if they just were able to pull the Eli Manning and just be like, I'm not playing there.
Right. The only time these guys get a good situation, it turns out better, is when you're a guy like Jalen Hurts, who's not as good as these quarterbacks were, and you get put into a position where you have weapons.
Oh, 100%. I mean, his first year, I think it was 2 years, he had to sit the bench, develop. His first year as a starter didn't go great. It was fucking, like, we had weapons, and it still didn't go great, right? And then he finally learned to work with the team, and I do agree that Jalen Hurts, very similar to Mendoza, doesn't have the full stats and attributes that you'd want out of an NFL premium quarterback, right? We all can agree on that. That's just the reality there, right? But he has the similar stats to Mendoza when it comes to the teamwork and the effort and things like that. If you put Mendoza in a position where he could have those talents, it probably will work out for him. You know what I mean? He can run the RPOs better. He can do what they were trying to do there in Indiana. But I just don't think going to the Raiders, he's gonna be successful, and it's gonna really hurt him bad when he gets thrown into that starting role.
So do you think? Just for a question, do you
think
100%. They should stay with Geno Smith?
No, that's the worst part. No, not at all. That's the problem. Is like, it's such a rock and a hard place, because how do you want to be with a guy that's cost too much money, that's going to play shit? You might as well take a guy that's young, that's not going to cost you much money, and play with that, right? And so that's where I get where the Raiders are going to probably draft him. They're going to probably start him because you take the chance. You roll the dice on a young guy coming in because it could work out. There's that chance it works out versus a guy that isn't working out. The guy that is flipping off the crowd, doing the stupid stuff, right?
The thing is, the Raiders really have three options. You get Malik Willis, try to steal him from the Green Bay Packers, which I hope Steelers do instead of the Raiders, but that's an option. That'll cost you some money, but that's a good proven young quarterback.
100%.
Amazing. Huntley's there, but he's probably going to stay where he's at.
Right.
He's going to get paid where he's at. I think he's in a good spot. Trade for Kyler Murray, which I'm not really high on Kyler Murray for $45 million a year.
No, not at all.
So your number one option right now for the Raiders is taking a quarterback for the price.
They have to. Yeah, and I get it.
And so at this point, out of the quarterbacks there, you have to go Mendoza. He outplayed Moore by far. The only quarterback I said would be better than him, and I wish he entered the draft, was that kid from Ole Miss, Childress.
Yeah.
That kid.
He wants one more year, doesn't he?
He wants to win a championship. But the thing is, he's not going to win one. Ole Miss is good, but half that team's going to LSU. So, I get what you're trying to do, and it was a great run, but you don't even make I don't even think they make playoffs next year. It's sad. It's sad. I bet LSU wins the championship in 3 years.
I can see it.
With Lane Kiffin?
Yeah.
$100.
Look what he did with Ole Miss.
Didn't win shit.
He took if he would have stayed, I bet that team could have won. They should have won against Miami.
Yeah. Well, when you lose your coach and the whole coaching staff, though, what are you going to do, right?
He took the whole coaching staff, but he's taken those players. I think Lane Kiffin goes to LSU in 3 years, builds a team that's unstoppable.
I can see it.
I'll put $100. I'll put a brown one on that one.
How do you not want to play for LSU, the most iconic university ever?
Right.
You want to go to the SEC, baby. But, Indiana's great.
I still love the Joe Burrow in the locker room ripping that cigar when he was banned in the stadium and he just didn't give a shit.
You want to go to LSU, Ohio State, or Alabama, or Clemson or Auburn. Like those are where you want to go. Georgia. You know, so you want to stay in that area. And LSU, Lane Kiffin does like this. I get why Lane Kiffin left, because it's the holy grail of coaching jobs.
Right.
It's what Saban had. It's what all these guys had. You don't have to recruit in LSU. They just come to you.
So going to our next pick.
We're still on the picks?
Yeah, we got a couple more to talk about, I think. Okay. We can do top. We'll do top. Do you want to do top 15? When we'll do the bottom 15 next week?
Sure.
Yeah, that works.
I like that. So I think we're on pick 9?
Mm-hmm.
We got Bengals. What do they got here? So it's saying on here tight end. I'm thinking they're going defensive player, honestly, in the Bengals. I think they have a solid, they've solid offense. They're going to, hopefully they trade for some offensive linemen, get a few veterans in there, try and pull kind of what the Broncos and the Bears did. We're getting some veteran guys in there and keeping a little more protection. But I think they go for a stronger defensive player. I think we're going to see a cornerback, possibly, Mansour Delane. I think he could be the guy going there. I really do.
LSU. If I'm them, yes, I agree with that. Delane is amazing. I like Lee Hunter from Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah. He's good.
That boy is one mean son of a bitch, 6'4", 330. That tackle, man, he is a wrecker up the middle. And with losing Hendrickson, I think they need to have a little bit more push up that middle.
Right, I can see that too. Yeah.
There's a plug and play right there.
He's not gone yet, though, right? He's not gone, is he?
No, but I heard that heard he's seeking out trade options and stuff like that. If I got a guy like Lee Hunter out there, that guy's a mean boy.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now, too. The Eagles are in a position where in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of their guys on the defense go to different teams. They can't pay them all, right? So you're going to see a lot of these young guys get picked apart. Like, they're going to keep the main guys. They're going to keep the Jalen Carters, those kind of guys. But I see, if I'm the Eagles, I'm taking Jalen Carter over Jordan Davis. That's the reality there. I think you're going to keep Nakobe Dean over some of the other guys on the backside rushing, and I think you can't keep them all, unfortunately. That's the reality. When you're paying guys like Zach Bond on the defense on the middle linebacker spot, you can't pay everybody.
Well, and somebody's going to get paid over there. The old safety, the old white boy is going to get some money coming.
Reed's getting paid here. I think they're saying his contract's lining up pretty quick here. So that's going to be nice to have him locked in for sure, because I think he does a great job. He really does.
Cooper DeJean's going to get paid here.
Well, Cooper DeJean's going to get paid, but he was only a rookie last year, so he's still got one more season until he gets paid. 2 more years,
Was it 1 more year? Yeah.
Because this was the second year, so 1 more year, yeah.
But I think that's why they're shopping A.J. Brown, because all that money's going to go to Cooper DeJean, baby.
Yep, he's going to stay.
What about Reuben Dane Jr. coming off the edge? He's
great.
Solid.
He's great.
Could be solid.
And you know what? You don't even lose with that. But they had a guy with Henderson, and it didn't work out with him. I take Henderson over Bain any day.
Henderson?
Now, Henderson's cost money. I get it. This kid's going to cost you this. It's the same position. You're putting yourself in the exact same position, just with a weaker player. You're going to have to pay him later. I just think you bring in some guys. We all know, and this is the Hoggie Shuffle, we got to start with our big boys up front. And I think you get your tackles in there, your nose tackles, guys that could really flush stuff through.
You need your big boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next pick, we got the Dolphins. Now, this is going to be a crazy one. It's my opinion, though. I think that you see Dolphins trade their first-round pick. I think, new coach coming in, new guys coming in. I think they pull a little bit of move. I think they trade that pick out and just really work on the restructure and try and build for the next few years, Try and get some picks going in next year, maybe get a couple second-round picks going. I just don't think there's anyone the Dolphins could just pick up right now in the first round that's going to make a direct difference for them.
Well, see, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think you're not far off, Press.
They sure need a quarterback. That's all I know.
Oh, and you do, right? But at that pick, what are they at? Pick 11? They're not going to get what they need to get out of, and again, like getting quarterbacks in the first round. I think if they get try to get a veteran guy coming in, get someone that's been established, they don't have to pay a lot of money to really work on the rebuild over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, set up their draft picks going into the future, maybe have a couple more for next year, a couple second rounds for next year, work into those guys, bring some offensive linemen in if they can, and really just start working on the rebuild with the new coaching staff.
Yeah. So what do they have? They just released Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
So they got Waddle.
They still got Waddle. They still got concussion man Tua.
They got Archan.
They released Chubb.
They got Archan, one of the best running backs in the league.
Oh, 100%, man. He's a monster.
They don't have a bad O-line.
No, they actually have a pretty well. Ask Tua that question.
Tua held that ball a little longer than he should.
100%. He rolls out of the pocket and then just gets hit. It's something we've seen a lot in the Patriots game as well too, where he was holding that ball a little too long and just getting those big hits. And I think that I think that Tua's maybe got one more season left there. I don't see them. Next year. I think next year after he's on his contract, I don't see them re-signing him. I really don't.
Yeah. See, and like for me, they got Ewers right from Texas from last year's draft. If Ewers was in this draft, Ewers would probably be number 1 overall draft pick.
100%.
So they don't need a quarterback. They got Wallen as their tight end. They got a decent O-line. They got a great running back. Actually, they got 2 decent running backs. The defense ain't too bad. I think if I'm drafting, I'm getting either a stud defensive guy or I'm going to get that wide receiver from USC that, what is his name, Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah.
Guy had almost 1,300 yards receiving.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible quarterback. Guy has moves, 5'11".
He's a Smitty. You know what I mean? He's a Devontae Smith type, right? Where he's going to be that guy getting you those little corner routes, getting you those out routes, and he could be a successful guy for them for sure.
And so he's a guy that I would look at, and late in that draft, that's a sneaky pick, and it's a solid pick, and you're going to get a solid guy. This is Caleb Williams' guy. But I look at it, I'd probably go with the best defensive player possible. If I don't trade, like you said. That's not a bad idea.
You got to look, too. They're in talks with Mika Fitzpatrick right now, and it's not sounding so good. It's not sounding like he wants to stay in Miami.
No, this is the second time around they had it. The problem with Minka Fitzpatrick is he's almost like he's
getting up
so
there.
good that you want him, but he's not good enough to be getting paid what he's getting paid.
He was when he went there from Pittsburgh, but you look at it. When you play for a shitty team like the Raiders or the Dolphins, it's
injuries hurt too, right?
Sucks the life out of you, right?
Yeah, injuries
100%.
hurt.
Next pick we got LA because they traded from the Falcons. They got pick 13.
Right. In the 13th spot we got Sony Styles, linebacker.
100%. This guy could go over Arvil Reese if he wanted to.
Right.
Either or. Ohio State just made product, eh?
They constantly produce edge rushers and receivers. Those are the 2 biggest things they produce, and that's just the reality of that. You look at the guys they come out with. They got some running backs out there too, but I mean their 2 biggest thing is edge rusher receivers. You go there for that kind of reason, play on a good solid team, and I think that Sonny Styles could be a solid dude for them for sure.
We're not going to go wrong.
Exactly. It's someone I think they could come in there. They got that number 8 on the outside who's going to be wanting to get paid here pretty soon too. I think that I think the Rams could get a solid edge rusher and be very helpful for them.
Yeah, I like that call. That's a good call.
He had 83 tackles, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, and fit in 14 games for the Hoggies.
Yeah, he was a menace.
That's not bad. That's pretty good stats.
And they got pick 14, Baltimore Ravens. It's a tough one because who do you take? You take an O-line or you take a D-line? That's your big thing right now. You don't need a running back. Your quarterback's on and off year. Every couple of years he does good. I think he had a big fight with the coaching staff this year. Him and Harbaugh just didn't get along. I think that's a big reason why he's gone. The owner obviously believes in him. I think that Lamar can do good things as long as he has the right weapons, and I think that they're pretty close. And I think if you give them a little bit more on the defensive side, or possibly another offensive lineman could do good, because I think like Spencer Fano could be a guy for them for sure. I don't know. It's a tough one. They're just a couple pieces away.
100%.
Maybe a kicker. Maybe
wasn't that kid a rookie?
Yeah, we'll take Ohio, or we'll take Indiana's kicker.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, it's I go O-line. You got Derrick Henry at his best right now, and you got to protect your assets in the back end with Lamar.
I think so. I think O-line's the way to go.
Yeah, I'm going with the biggest, baddest O-line. Anybody from Utah. Oregon always put out some good product too, but I'm taking the best.
Well, it's like you said, it's the Hoggie Shuffle. We're pushing for the O-line to get drafted. I want to see, last year was one of the biggest O-line drafts in the first round in NFL history, and I think you're going to see some more O-linemen get drafted, and I think it worked out for a lot of teams. Obviously Campbell wasn't the greatest when we wanted him to be, but I still think that, there's development coming into that guy, and I think if he does get moved to that guard position next year, it could work a lot better for the Pats too.
Well,
I'm picking the best available guard.
I think you're going to see Fano and Proctor. You're going to see them inside the 10, maybe 11. Like that, I don't think those two guys go outside of 10 or 11.
And I agree there too. I think there's going to be some good O-linemen get drafted, because we've seen recently that drafting O-linemen does work. Getting those big boys in to protect your assets is very, very important.
Well, because they're coming NFL ready, right?
Oh,
exactly.
They're already ready, and they got the size. That's the thing.
Right?
They're all 6'6", 300 pounds.
People want to shit talk Campbell from New England. But, I mean, look at the guy. The guy had a pretty decent season for a rookie. You know what? If he was the first overall pick, sure, you could shit on him a little bit. He was only 2. But, with that being said, I think he's going to have a lucrative career.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
He didn't just go to be a starter for a football team. They won 14 effing games, man.
I would bet you any money that there's some stud offensive linemen that are either playing or recently quit playing that have reached out to that young man after the season's over and have been working out with him all offseason, getting him prepped and ready.
Buddy from LSU, I think he was 2 years before Will was there. He plays for the Saints. He's a starting Saints tackle now. I can't remember his name, but he reached out last week and said, buddy, you're going to come into my house 2 months. We're going to train. And he says, we don't need to change anything. We just need to fix a couple of things that you're doing. We need to fix your set. We need to fix your kick step. We need to fix your stance. We need to fix your hand placement. We just need to take your skills and amplify them to the next level for the NFL.
Exactly.
Right? Short arms, they say. Jason Kelsey was like 6'2", 290 pounds.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they're kind of in a
Does he have long arms? No.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of in that position, too, to take that Jake Slaughter.
Right.
That center.
Yeah.
He's the number 1 center on the draft. It wouldn't be a bad thing for Baltimore to take either.
And with our last pick of the day, we got the Buccaneers at 15.
They definitely need some O-linemen.
What happened to that O-line? They were
so
studs.
good.
Like
Tristan Wirfs still is a great player, but it's just his last couple of years has just been, what the fuck's going on?
Well, it sounds like Evans is leaving.
Right.
So
do you blame him? But once you played with Tom Brady, you can't handle much lesser than that, which is tough. You played with the best quarterback of all time. To now, you started with terrible, got to that point in your career when you're at your peak playing with Tom Brady, and now it's just like, who the fuck am I? And Baker's good. Don't get me wrong. Baker's the guy that goes here and here, here and here, here and here.
Tampa Bay messed up so bad, because if it's me, I'm taking Bucky Irvin and I'm trading him. I got Rachaad White. Rachaad White put up numbers for the last 3 years.
Right.
This Bucky Irvin had a good 6-8 games. And they're all of a sudden they're like, this is our future. And it's like, you know what you could have got for him? And he still would have had Rachaad White. Like, I would take Rachaad White on my team over my running backs. Like, I like Kenneth Gainwell, don't get me wrong, and I like Warren. But I would be taking Rachaad White on my team over those two guys. Yeah, so, what are you doing holding on to a guy like Bucky Irvin? So they kind of screwed themselves. They got good wide receivers. Godwin will be back. They got a Bikwa or a Jibwa or a Jigwa, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Like, he's good. They got good guys. The O-line's okay. D-line's okay. The defense is going to be all right. I don't know where you go. I'm at a point where it's almost not worth a draft pick unless somebody needs something. You can't go wrong with an O-lineman. I'd pick probably the best O-lineman on the board.
I agree. If that Proctor's still up, that's what I'd be taking.
Yeah. So somebody there that's decent, somebody big. Like they got that Monroe Freeland. The guy's from Georgia, 6'7", 320 pounds. I love it. He has athleticism and reach.
Okay, we are hopping on to our next segment. This is a new segment. We're going to test it out. We're going to go with top 5. I threw a list up. Everyone can have their own opinion. We've got a couple little parts to this segment. We're going top 5 running backs of all time. I'm going to kick it off. Here we go. Barry the Mother Sanders. Best pure runner the league has ever seen. Best trade he had was that he could create yards from nowhere. Could have 10 guys on him. He's still running for a touchdown. And then the biggest thing that he had going for him, dominated without an elite offensive line or a quarterback for 10 seasons. Against him, people think that, maybe he's not the greatest because his longevity stats weren't there. No Super Bowl, retired early, if that matters.
Man, if I was getting franchise tagged every year, I'd be retiring early too.
Right. Is Barry the best football player ever, not just running backs? Like, you want to talk about highlights. I don't even know if there was a thing called highlights until Barry Sanders.
I think Jerry Rice is the best football player of all time.
Well, he could be on our next list next week. All right, now, number 2, silver. We got Walter Payton. Now, Sweetness, I tell you, watching Sweetness go, I never personally got to see him. I've only seen clips, but man, I tell you, he was a complete back, a runner, a blocker, a receiver. I mean, I'm not sure if it was a couple times, but at least one time he had to go in and finish up a game as quarterback, and on his first play, he threw a touchdown. As the quarterback, not as a trick play, but as the quarterback. He had elite production in a brutal era where running backs absolutely got crushed downhill by monstrous backs. Monstrous. A couple of things against him is he didn't carry his team to the 85 Super Bowl run. He was a little sick in those, in those later days. He was getting sick. And he was not as explosive as Sanders, right? Do we value competitiveness, completeness over dominance? I'm a dominance guy. I want to see the guy that, can do it all the time, no matter what. Okay, and number 3, this one might be the toss-up for some people out there. We got old Jim Brown playing on dirt parking lots. People say he was the most dominant player of his era by far.
Easily.
Right?
Easily.
He led the league in rushing 8 out of the 9 seasons that he played. The dude was just physically unstoppable. He played in a smaller, less athletic league, short career by modern standards. If Jim Brown played today, would he be better than Derrick Henry?
It's
such a tough one, right? It's eras, right? It's so tough when you look at eras. You could say this about basketball, about hockey, about any sport. You have to define a player and his greatness by the era he played in. That's all you can really do. You can't. It's so tough to compare guys to now because the level of training people get at a young age now. The sports science has developed so much that it's impossible to try and say that yes or no he would have been as good just because of the fact that we'll never truly know.
All right. Next up, number 4. We got 4-time Super Bowl winning running back Emmitt the Garbage Smith. Like, let's be honest. Emmitt Smith played. It was amazing. But he also got to play with the Great Wall of Dallas.
He had the best offensive line in NFL history.
Right,
we would have got 4 Super Bowls if we played on that team.
Right?
Literally.
He NFL all-time leading rusher, production plus championships, durable, consistent, clutch are things that I wouldn't say about him, but my list says. Against elite offensive line and system. Like, he had a decent system quarterback. He had great receivers on the edge, and he had the Great Wall of Dallas. Like, it was an unstoppable force. Didn't matter how good you were in the 90s playing against Dallas. They just kicked crap at you.
Well, they had the ball all the time because Deion Sanders kept giving them the ball.
Right?
I'll put it this way. Everyone shits on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the Emmitt Smith, okay? That's the reality of it. Yes. You want to look at guys like that? Emmitt Smith would have been nothing without the team he was with.
100%.
No, I don't put it that far because when it mattered, Emmitt Smith came out to ball. Every Super Bowl.
And again, I'm the same way with Jalen Hurts. When it matters, he comes out to ball. But you look at the overall longevity of the career side of it, and what carries and who's there to working hard. And the reality again is, if you were running behind Larry Allen, the guy could bench press 700 pounds. I mean, shit, he's making a hole
48 times at 225.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Oh,
and then, last but not least, this guy will always have a special place in my heart. Was one of the funnest guys to ever watch play, LaDainian Tomlinson.
LT, baby.
I agree.
How do you not put him in? He is top 5. There's not another person. Yeah.
Sorry. Best dual threat RB of all time. TD machine in his prime. And he was scheme proof. You could scheme all you want against LT. He's still coming at you.
The guy was a beast.
Watching
him live he was the cheat code.
He was.
Give him the ball, watch a touchdown. He was a cheat code. You watch Antonio Gates and all these guys, they're like, LT was crazy. Everyone knew it.
He had a shorter peak than the rest of the guys on the list. And again, like a couple other guys, he had no Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is LT one of the best of the modern era? I would have to say, outside of, what you think for stats and anything like that. But that's going to bring us to our next part of the segment. This one's more for you two to answer these questions. Okay, we got each host names one running back they would replace on the list. Could be whoever you want. Doesn't matter what position you want, but you have to tell me why and why they deserve to be there over the guy that you're picking.
You go first, Press.
Well, I'm a toss-up because there's 2 I'd replace, but I'll just do one. That's fine. I would say AP for Emmitt Smith. And I truly think that you look at the production, the dude won MVP. He played on a really mediocre Vikings team and is able to really have success at the running back position. He never really... That old Brett Favre. Okay, that's like saying you got Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. It's cool, but it's not what it was in the prime, right? I mean, you look at what AP was able to do. A 2,000-yard rushing season, getting MVP, doing what he did, man. He was an absolute monster. I think, and especially, I mean, me being the younger guy, obviously, you guys obviously got to see AP play. That was when you guys were big in the NFL too. But I mean, me growing up with that, I think AP definitely takes that number 4 spot. And the really quick one I want to say is I'll also take Marshall Faulk over LT.
That's fair enough.
Just a really quick one. I just wanted to throw that in there. I know you guys are very against that pick, but I don't know, man. LT was good. He was great. He was a monster. But Marshall Faulk he was something else. I really think so.
He did win a Super Bowl, but he didn't. The thing that I love and appreciate the most about LT is that LT was a record breaker. And he didn't just break one. He broke all. He broke the scoring record. He broke the receiving touchdowns record by running back. He broke the yard. He didn't break the yard. But you know what? He broke a lot of guys' records, man. And like for me to be able to sit here and tell you that, I watched all those games because it sucked cheering for LT because he's a Charger, but like the guy was just monstrous. I got to play him twice a year, watch him kick the crap out of me.
Yeah, so good.
All right,
never play on the Raiders twice a year. You'll have yards.
Oh, 100%.
Well, the top 5. It's always a goating debate. I honestly, I think it's the only position that might not have a complete goat besides probably Barry Sanders. I think I don't know how you don't give it to him.
Right.
Walter Payton, great. Jim Brown, great. So now there's the debate with LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson. I agree with you. I would probably put Marshall Faulk on that list in that bottom 5. But watching, the only person I would probably switch out is I'd have Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, LT for me because he's the reason I started watching football. Tell you the truth, that guy was insane. But I'd probably put Marshall Faulk in there, just seeing what he did, his body of work. There's a part of me that wants to switch him out with Christian McCaffrey. I've never seen a guy receive out of the backfield. I've never seen a guy just carry his team to 12 or 14-2 records and all the time. The only reason Carolina was any irrelevance was because of him. I don't think they ever recoup because of that loss. Man, like CMC is a different. Well, I've never seen it before. I've never seen a running back do what he does, receive like that. I like to put Derrick Henry in there and like keep it modern. But LT, man, I wish I would have got to see those greats. Like I'm too young for it, so it's hard for me to put that on debate. So you just got to go with what they did, what the impact. But LT, man, for our generation, we're 40 years old. LT was the standard. That guy would ruin teams. And like Adrian Peterson, shout out to him. He was good. But I just didn't like it. There was part of me that seemed like he was tainted a little bit with some of the off-field shit. And I didn't like that.
It was just a switch. He just hit his kid with a tree branch.
There's always something following him. I
agree.
I look at LT, man, like the guy sat there with the smoke visor. You couldn't see his eyes. And but there's so many like shout outs, right? Like you got Gurley in his prime, right? Won people so much money in fantasy. The guy you hand him the ball, it was 8 yards. It didn't matter. Like guys like him, or I got
Derrick Henry,
Derrick Henry in his prime. Like there's this Gibbs is going to be Dickerson. Probably up there.
Oh yeah, Dickerson.
I think this Gibbs is probably going to be right up there with all these guys when he's done his illustrious career.
I think Bijan Robertson's going to be a good running back in his career as well too. I really do.
I think. Well, he's good, but I just think he dies with that. He needs to get out.
Yep.
He's got to go. He needs to do what Shaquan did. Because Shaquan, there's notable things for Shaquan. I've never, like, he's probably better than CMC out of with the check down pass. And I think Philly needs to do that more. But until that happens, I think he needs to see a little bit more. And it's crazy. LT didn't even win a Super Bowl. And we're all sitting here like, yeah, you're goated, bro. You're in there.
Now, I will say, you guys were talking about dual threat, but just so you know, Marshall Faulk did have like almost double the receiving touchdowns and like 2,000 more yards received.
Well, and that's why he has to be on my list.
He's pretty nasty. Faulk was fucking nasty, man.
And he won a Super Bowl too, right?
And MVP.
MVP.
Forget the time he scored 34 touchdowns in one season.
The guy was amazing.
LT definitely did that.
Yeah, that's why I have to put Falk and the Damien on there as my bottom 4 or 5.
Next up, we got final lightning round. Answer yes or no. No explanations allowed. Preston, you're up first. In this list, does it matter if you win the Super Bowl to be in the top 5?
I think as a running back, makes
yes or no answer. No explanation allowed. Okay, Justin?
Yes.
Should longevity matter more than peak?
No.
See, I agree with that. I think that, you hit your peak, 28 years old, you're rushing it. Like you look at Derrick Henry on his peak, like amazing. Justin?
Peak matter, or no, not peak. Longevity does matter. I think if you have a good 2 years, it's great. But like Clinton Portis had a great thing. He's a flash in the pan. Boom.
Now this
I think longevity matters.
This question is going to throw just a crimp in the list. Would today's running back usage ruin half this list? I agree with that because I don't think that matters. Like I think that when you're like Jim Brown, it doesn't matter what era of football you played. The guy is tougher than tough.
Time out. Do you know why the fuck do you guys get explanations on your answers and I couldn't talk about the Super Bowl mattering or not?
I'm the host.
He's the co-host.
There's no explanations.
I'm the assistant regional manager around here. Right?
Explanations? I'm going to go back to mine then. I think the Super Bowl doesn't matter. I think being a running back means it's more important that you win an MVP over winning a Super Bowl.
Well, the only way you get first ballot nods is championships. Unless you're Antonio Gates for some reason.
But the Hall of Fame means nothing anymore to me. Because they snubbed Bill Belichick. I don't believe in the Hall of Fame anymore. It's absolutely horseshit.
You're 100% right. But when we talk about this, the reason Emmitt Smith was on that list is because he had 4 championships.
Yep, I agree with that.
And how can you deny it? The reason Marshall Faulk is on that list is he had a championship. No, LaDainian Tomlinson was an exception, and Adrian Peterson's both there.
But see, I think Faulk gets the list, championship or not, because he has the MVP.
The only reason Jerome Bettis is going to make the Hall of Fame is because he won a championship.
Yep, I agree with that.
Championships do matter.
I don't think they matter as much, though, in a sense, for being a top five.
Maybe if you're on the fringe, but we look at Emmett Smith, and we're both taking him out, and he won 4, so I agree with you there. But I just think Tom Brady wouldn't be where he's at for his stat wise if he didn't win championships.
Yeah, but you gotta think, even if he lost every one of those Super Bowls, if he was still in them and lost them all, he'd still have over double the amount of passing yards that Joe Montana ever had in his career. He'd still be the GOAT.
And that's why we talk about longevity. Why does it matter?
Right? That's fair. I agree with that. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, LT played 11 seasons.
He did. That's a long running back career, man.
And his birthday's June 23rd, so he's got to go right to number 1 on the list.
Marshall Faulk was on my list, by the way.
He's a monster. Next thing we're going to roll into here is, I got already into an hour here. I don't know if we can go too much into this. You might have to skip this one for now. Let's we'll go to the start one, bench one, cut one. We'll go back to that next week.
We'll make it shorter. We'll edit it.
Yeah, we'll go back to that one next week. But we'll do start one, bench one, cut one. We're back into the fun game here. We got quarterback edition though. Okay. There's gonna be 5 rounds. We're going through. You can defend why you think your 3 is gonna be the first pick. But anyways, first round is gonna be the GOAT tier. I think for a lot of people, these are gonna be your top 3 quarterbacks all time. Again, there could be one of these guys that you might maybe say no to, maybe think somebody else, but I don't know. I think this is a pretty solid GOAT tier list. I'll go Justin first. We got start 1, bench 1, cut 1. You got Brady, Manning, and Montana.
Well, I'm starting Brady.
Obviously.
He's the GOAT. I'm going to go with Montana sitting, and Peyton Manning's on my bench.
So you're start 1, bench 1, cut 1. So you're cutting Montana, or you're starting?
I would cut Peyton.
Cut Manning. Yeah, that's what I thought you said. Yeah, okay.
I agree with that. I mean, obviously the GOAT's getting up there with the number 1 spot. Peyton Manning's close. He's very close to Joe Montana. But again, I really think that a guy like Joe Montana, like we talk about, it didn't matter what era that guy played football in. He would have been great. I don't know if he'd have been 4 Super Bowls great, but he'd have been
You had Jerry Rice, man.
Yeah, Jerry Rice.
Part of that guy.
I'm going the opposite a little bit. I'm going Brady, Peyton. I'm cutting Joe. I'm telling you right now. I think Joe was a product of having Clark. And he had Clark. He had He had Jerry Rice. I think I'm taking Brady. I'm taking Manning. I'm cutting Joe.
That's a tough one, Preston.
It's tough.
How do you take Joe Montana out of that equation?
I will say this: Peyton Manning has 4 MVPs or 5 MVPs.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
And I get it. But Peyton Manning didn't have Jerry Rice.
He did have Harrison.
Yeah, and Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning were a great combo. But I think you put Marvin Harrison on other squads, I don't think he does nearly the amount of work he would have had when he had Peyton Manning. I think the biggest fault Peyton Manning has, and this is the reality of it, is he always wanted to be He wanted to be the highest paid quarterback. He didn't care about winning chips. He cared about making money. And I think that's going to be his biggest fault in his career, is because of the fact that he wanted to be the highest paid guy all the time, and he didn't restructure his contract like Brady. He didn't do those things to try and win chips. He constantly wanted to make the most amount of money.
It wasn't that. He always had to play Tom Brady in the playoffs.
And that's the other part too, right? Who did Joe have to play?
Always had to play. Well, I think Joe Montana probably could have snuck a couple out of Brady if he played him. But I don't think all of them. But I think
Tom Brady has 2 careers in his NFL, and in both those careers, he did more than Joe Montana ever did.
Oh yeah, he's goated. He's the Wayne Gretzky of.
Right. Okay, round 2. We got the dual threat era. We got guys that can run and pass. And this one, it's more new era. It's not really much as the old guys, as much as I think that there could be probably one more guy in the dual threat here than there is. But anyways, we're going to go start 1, bench 1, cut 1. You got Mahomes, Allen, Jackson.
I'm going to go. I'll go first this time. I mean, this is a pretty easy list in my eyes.
It's an easy cut.
We got 3 MVPs on this list. Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes created a new position in the NFL. I don't know if you guys have seen it. The little sidearms, the little dink and dunks, the throwing tippy toes from the line of scrimmage. Obviously, I'm taking Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson. I don't think Lamar Jackson is even better than Michael Vick, in my honest opinion. He's a great quarterback. Would I have him on my team any day? But I tell you, in a real world, I'd probably, if it was stat versus stat, not championship versus championship, I'm probably taking Josh Allen one, Patrick Mahomes on my bench, and
Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. I think the cut was pretty easy. I gotta go with Mahomes just because of the championship. Seeing what he did in the finals were crazy. He beat Allen 3 times playoff, right? Like head to head. I would have put Allen in there if he would have went to the Super Bowl, but he didn't. Even though there was some ref bias, I gotta go Mahomes start, Allen second on the bench, and I gotta cut Lamar. That's an easy cut.
out of here.
Well, this is going to be the other one. I'm going Mahomes, Lamar, and I'm cutting Josh Allen. And the simple reason why is I've never seen a quarterback choke more in my entire life than I've seen Josh Allen choke. I just think when the grit gets down to it, I think that Lamar Jackson last year was a tight end catch away from going to the championship, going to the AFC championship game. This year, he was a field goal away from being in the playoffs. I mean, I just think that his team, there's a lot of different variables that are around it, and I think that he hasn't been in the position to choke nearly as much as Josh Allen has. And I think when it comes down to it, Josh Allen is going to be the choke artist. He's never going to get it.
It's going to be the Dan Marino.
You know what, though? I don't think he choked this year. I think the refs stole that.
I agree. I think that was 100% a catch. But the reality is, it shouldn't even have been that close. I think that if he really was as good as I think he should be, that should have been a walk game. I think that you're going against a Denver Broncos team that, yes, they had a solid defense, but I think that realistically, he should have been able to control that game a lot better than he did.
Yeah, imagine if Cook didn't fumble the ball or if he didn't fumble the ball 3 times.
The only thing that I'll say about that, just real quick before we get to the next set, is that after Buffalo had one good wide receiver and he got hurt, they didn't even try to get somebody else.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks is your best receiver?
But I mean, if you couldn't win it with Diggs, what are you doing?
But why?
Well, nobody can win it with Diggs,
right?
No one can win it with Diggs.
Look at the Patriots. He couldn't even get the ball.
Yeah, but that was.
There's a reason why he's been traded 4 times.
Right.
Okay, now round 3, we got some legends in. We got some guy that's he's still playing somehow in the ayahuasca mix of his life. But we're going primes here. Obviously, this is always primes. But we got pure passers. We got Breeze. We got Rodgers, and we got Marino. This is really tough for me. And honestly, again, I think it's an era thing. I think it's an age thing. But I'm probably going prime Aaron Rodgers, prime Drew Brees, and I'm cutting Marino.
You're cutting Marino.
I'm cutting Marino.
Places.
I just think you look at Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Aaron Rodgers' prime is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Like if that prime 3, there was a 3-year period. I want to say, even 4 years, 2011 to about 2014. I mean, that was a special quarterback. You look at Drew Brees. I mean, the dude threw for 5,500 yards, over 5,000 yards in consecutive seasons. If he had somebody better than Marquise Colston and maybe a little bit beefier on the running back side versus a guy like Darren Sproles, someone a little bigger, I think they could have really had a better offense and got more than one chip. And I think that Dan Marino played in an era. It's an era that I just don't believe in. That obviously, as you've seen from my picks, I'm a little bit more on the newer side of football. I think that era specifically in the 80s it wasn't nearly as competitive what it's been in the last 20 years.
See, I agree with you there. Oh, hey, Maggie. Made her debut. Yeah. I got to go with Drew Brees. Obviously, he's your guy you're starting. Drew Brees, amazing. Awesome to watch. Fun to watch him in LaDainian. And so I got to start Drew Brees. I'm going to bench Dan Marino just because he wins one championship. He's goated. That's how good he was. But, yeah, I got to I got to bench the last guy there, right? So... Shout out to everybody, but Drew Brees is my starter. Dan Marino, he's it.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I think that's your pick. You're always entitled to that. I get it. You watch a different era of football than I watch. That's the reality of growing up in different eras. But I just think that prime Aaron Rodgers was just, I mean, like there's no one better that ever could throw the deep ball. No one can throw a 60-yard ball at the last second of the game. I mean, he has the most touchdowns in the last second of any, but he didn't.
He did actually lots of times.
Not as many as Aaron Rodgers. I'd bet you $1 million right now.
He probably didn't have those miraculous touchdowns to win the game type as Aaron Rodgers did with no time left on the clock. But what he did have was every single record on the offense. He had the passing, he had the yards, he had the touchdowns, he had every stat.
Name 10 quarterbacks in the 80s that were throwing over 5,000, 4,000 yards a season. Wasn't a thing. The competition level wasn't there.
And that's true. I mean, you also have to remember, too, back when those guys played, there was only 14 games. So to be able to get those numbers. But I'm taking Dan Marino number one, just in the sheer fact that there's nobody in the history of the NFL that could throw the ball like Dan Marino. Nobody. There is not a guy that had a harder ball, that could throw the ball farther on a consistent basis, and score touchdowns at will, at no matter what.
See,
Brett Favre had the hardest blow.
I know what you're saying on that type deal, and I'm with you there, Rob, in a sense where Dan Marino's name's not talked about lightly around everybody in the league. Back in the day, Dan Marino's everyone's like, that guy should have won.
Well, you think about
it wasn't his fault.
Like you said,
they just lost from a field goal here. They lost this. He was always put his guys. The only reason Tom Brady had and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Tom Brady had Vinatieri kicking for him.
Oh yeah.
Peyton Manning had Vinatieri kicking for him. They had good guys, right? They had Cass that came up huge. Eli Manning had guys that came up huge. Dan Marino just seemed like he put his teams in positions all the time to make a chip shot.
Right. No,
and they couldn't get the chip shot. Drew Brees, he's right there. He had such good guys, and Rodgers had good guys too. And the only thing I think with Rodgers is I think he played him, and I know I'm going to get crapped on for this, but he's almost playing himself into a second, third ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh,
the longer he's playing, he's putting himself in a worse position.
I agree. Like the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, but he still won the MVP in 2020. I mean, that's still 6 seasons ago. He was still you know what I mean? I don't think he's nearly in the prime of what he was, but I mean, there was a solid 10-year run where that dude was top 2 quarterback in the league every year.
Right.
Yeah. We had Devontae Adams.
There was a time,
100%. It was unreal.
There was a time when 2 of those MVPs should have went to Tom Brady. In my eyes.
But he had less yards, less touchdowns.
See, and I'm there with you. I think
less yards, less touchdowns, but he won the Super Bowl both times as the best quarterback in the league.
Again, that's a team winning thing. MVP is it's a physical one person stat. You have to give it to the best player. You can't give it to the best team.
Yeah, but the thing is, the best player wins the game.
The best team wins the game.
Understandably, but when you look at it, and you're looking at the quarterback that win the game, if you're telling me who I got to take out of these 3 guys that could not really win the game when it really matters.
I'm taking Perk Rogers. I'm telling you right now, Perk Rogers was a fucking monster.
You look at all 3 of these guys, and my list goes Marino, Brees, and Cut Rogers, just in the sheer fact that not one of these guys was clear cut a big game winner. Sure, they won once. Dan Marino didn't win once. You look at Drew Brees and Rodgers, whereas Drew Brees was a 5,000-yard passer 5 times, right? Cut off the Chargers.
I look at it too. Drew Brees was
no first-round draft pick,
and Drew Brees was always I look at eras too, and I know these guys were fighting it. Drew Brees was that was what was the division Rodgers was in against terrible teams,
right? He had 6 easy wins every season.
Every season he had the Detroit Lions twice. They didn't win a game.
Right.
And he was barely winning them. He had to throw the Hail Mary to Jordy Nelson just to win on Thanksgiving to a team that never won a game. and they're giving it to these guys. Meanwhile, you got Tom Brady just feasting against these teams. You got Drew Brees feasting against these teams. Like, these are hard teams to play against. And Rodgers kind of had an easier road. He was guaranteed, no matter just from the schedule, he was coming out number one.
Marino had the Jets, the Patriots.
Well, the Namath.
Garbage. Yeah, but Namath was way before these guys. So you had the
Jets, little bit before him.
You had the Jets, the Patriots, and what's the other one there?
We'll let you work it out.
Who else is in that division? Jets, Patriots,
Dolphins.
There's one more shitty team.
Buffalo.
Sorry, there you go. So we're talking all these.
So he played against one good quarterback in his whole career.
Who's
that? In that Jim Kelly.
Drew Bledsoe was no slouch.
But
he couldn't win shit though. If we're talking about championships, you guys are all about the championships.
Well,
Bledsoe couldn't win shit.
Yeah, but we're talking about Aaron Rodgers won against a shitty called Pittsburgh Steelers play.
I'm telling you right now, man, Perk Rodgers was something else, man. You want to look at highlights? You want to go look at highlights, man? He was an absolute dog.
You don't want to of course you're going to give him his flowers for his great 3 years of work.
That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about prime players who you take in their prime. I'm taking prime Perk Rodgers.
If we're taking prime, Rodgers is definitely getting cut.
No, I don't see it.
Drew Brees' prime was unbelievable.
He was great.
In me, to look at it, Drew Brees' prime was better than Tom Brady's prime.
But how many MVPs?
Peyton Manning's prime. But we're talking about prime, right? Prime could be 1 year.
But his prime year, did he get up MVP?
I'm sure he has an MVP.
I don't think he does.
Drew Brees got to have an MVP.
I don't know. I think that...
and if he doesn't, it was all biased. Like you said, these MVP voting things doesn't matter. We got to see with our own eyes. Drew Brees was just a gunslinger. To me, you could say that Stafford's better than these guys, but Drew Brees was a different beast, man. And then you look at Dan Marino. Guys whisper that guy's name. That guy's spec to the highest level of all these guys that talk about are yeah, that guy was an animal, man. You don't hear that with Rodgers.
Brees is second in career passing yards, career touchdown passes, and career completions, only behind one person.
Yeah. You look at it, I would probably take Brett Favre over Rodgers for sure in a heartbeat. And that's not the best thing to say in the world, right? And even though Favre was great, but I think Favre was better than Rodgers, and they got the same amount of Super Bowls, don't they? I think they both have one.
One win, one loss, yeah.
I look at Rodgers and I just look at primes, Drew Brees.
My problem with Rodgers, I just think he's an absolute shit human being, so I just don't have time for him.
It taints stuff for us personally on when you're voting for it, and I get that, and I get where they go on the voting of stuff, but Drew Brees, man, that guy could have had so many more championships if he was just on the right fit, the right team. Some of these guys, I look at Allen. If Allen just had anybody that could play defense on his fucking team, anybody.
I had to look this up because I wanted to be sure. 4 MVPs Aaron Rodgers has.
2 of them are, that's what I said. 2 of them should have went to Tom Brady.
Yeah, 100%.
But they didn't because he didn't get it.
But they should have.
But they should.
But the best team doesn't mean you're the best player. I mean, I'm just saying 4 MVPs, guys. I mean, yeah. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers every day of the week.
One of those MVPs came from when Tom Brady lost the Super Bowl.
But you gotta realize the MVP voting comes out before the Super Bowl's even done.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying, that year that Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl, he had all those touchdowns with Randy Moss. He broke the record with 53 touchdowns. He broke every record.
I still didn't get it.
There's no way Aaron Rodgers was better than Tom Brady. No fucking way.
Any year.
Well, there's 4 years he was. So I'm just saying, right. 4 years he was.
Last round.
I love that we got to have a good segment. That was awesome. Okay, round 4, physical freaks. This one's going to be fun because this one's going to be guys that, you can't say they were ever the best. You can't say they were ever the worst. I think this one is really easy. I think we're going to all pretty much agree on this one. You got Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, John Elway. Cut one, bench one, start one. And is it my turn to start? No, it's Just's turn to start off.
Oh, this is the easiest.
I think this one's easy. I really think this one's easy.
Well, Elway's you're starting. Ben Roethlisberger second, Cam Newton your bench or your cut.
Yeah, I think that's my same. That's my same. I'm
That
100% in agreement with that.
That one's easy, but
that one's super easy.
This is a tough one too. Elway, you won the championships. You're goated.
Back to back too.
You're in the top 4.
Big Ben in his prime though was pretty fucking nasty, man.
It was pretty good.
Big Ben was good, but do you know what Big Ben had?
Defense.
One of the best rookie seasons ever.
Yeah.
But he had the best defenses ever.
100%.
And then he also, if you looked at who he had for O-line, wide receivers, running backs, the guy, and Bill Cowart, Dick LeBeau, like these.
But you can arguably say
if you put Cam Newton in Ben Roethlisberger's, and this is where it's skewed. If you put Cam Newton in Ben Roethlisberger's position, Steelers win more than just 2.
No, I don't agree with that.
You could arguably say this, and this is one thing I'll live and die on this hill. The 4-year stint of Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown is probably the best combo quarterback to receiver in NFL history.
Yes. It's the only people that outshot Drew Brees.
Right?
I'm taking, obviously, John Elway. John Elway had an amazing arm. Like, absolutely amazing. Pocket presence, great quarterback. He wasn't
fierce
the
competitor.
Best, he wasn't the best runner. He was like Ben. He
was a fierce competitor.
But I tell you what he would do. He would run you the fuck over. He wouldn't try to juke you. He wouldn't try to dance. He didn't try to.
He'd get you the 3 yard.
I personally, I not even just cut Cam Newton. I don't even let Cam Newton be part of the conversation because I just think Cam Newton is an absolute terrible human being.
I can tell you this. My list is the same as your guys. I think both Elway and Roethlisberger jump on the ball in the Super Bowl. That's the biggest thing for me is that's where I think they both jump on that ball. I think they both would have risked their body to win the game. I think that Cam Newton probably had one of the best, you could argue that he had a really strong couple seasons, 3-4 seasons in the NFL. That 2013 Cam Newton was special. 2011, 2012, 2013 was special.
Yeah, but he never should have won MVP, not never.
But he was unreal that year. You have to realize there was a certain point where he was really solid. He had a great group of guys around him. I want to say they had 15 All Pros that year, where he was an absolute monster. Went to the Super Bowl. He had as much as I don't think Luke Kuechly should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. He had Luke Kuechly on the defense. He had a really good squad around him. But I will say that he's definitely my cut. I'm taking Elway, Roethlisberger, Newton all day, every day, twice on Sundays. That's the reality.
Yeah. With Cam Newton, I honestly really like Cam Newton in the sense of his play. And from what I hear,
it was awesome.
What I hear from his teammates is he's a hell of a teammate. And I know playing with the guy, it would have been a lot of fun. I would have laughed my ass off. He would have made it fun. The problem is this is a cruel league that we play in, and that's watched, and we're watching it. When you're loud, and he's loud, you see it in his hats, and you see it in his podcast, which I still watch because he's loud, and I like it. It's like watching my boy off First Take. Fucking the boys are awesome, but the thing is, when you're loud, your mistakes are even louder.
Yeah, that's true.
And so this is the problem, right? When you're quiet and you're coy and you don't do anything and you're just, about your business, your mistakes aren't magnified by what you do. And it's a harsh thing, and it's a hard people to get. And
unless you're Jalen Hurts.
Well, and Cam Newton's still dealing with it, right? Like, I know it's eating him up alive. It'll eat him up alive. Tony Romo eats him up alive all day. But
because he talks too much.
When you talk too much, everything gets magnified, right? And it sucks.
All I know is he doesn't like Jalen Hurts and shits on him, so I don't like him.
Again, like I said, he did something that not one person in this room would do. If there was a fucking grenade on there and it was going to save you two, and I would throw my body on that bitch and blow up. Just because I knew, right? Like, hey, we're putting our lives on the line to win this game. And this is the biggest moment of your entire life as a football player, and you're telling me you were too worried about getting hurt to jump on that?
You panic.
Look, we can panic all you want to, but he was afraid for dollars. He had nothing else to do outside of money. If money was not in that situation, he'd have jumped on the ball. I guarantee.
See, and this is where we look at Ben Roethlisberger and Cam Newton, and this is the difference of the two careers. Is my favorite player of all time, the Bus. He's on the 1 yard line. All Pittsburgh has to do is get this touchdown. And they stick a helmet on the ball and they fumble this ball. And this is in the semifinal. This is in the AFC Championship, right? And they grab the ball and it's a for sure touchdown. And Ben Roethlisberger is the last one back.
He fell
It's
down.
only him. And he makes a shoestring tackle and puts his full body on the line to make, if Ben Roethlisberger doesn't make that tackle, Jerome Bettis doesn't make the Hall of Fame, Steelers don't win the Super Bowl, Ben Roethlisberger doesn't make Hall of Fame. Like, there's so much to it.
Yep.
And Cam Newton had a chance to do that, what Ben did, and didn't do it. And so it's just, you know, the sports is cool. There's nothing. Cam Newton had a great career. It was fun to watch. He kept it spicy. I love watching his shit. But you didn't do what Ben did. You didn't do what these other guys did and make this play. And Allen's right there with Cam Newton.
100%.
He didn't make the play. Like, watching him fumble at the half-yard line.
Fuck, that was gross.
What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like, there's no... Just take a kneel, bro. You take a kneel there, you win that game and you're off to the Super Bowl because you're going to beat New England.
Right.
Yep.
Like, Allen lost that game. And I hate to say it because I love Josh Allen, but he lost that game for Buffalo.
Well, boys, I think this was awesome segment.
Pretty successful.
I like that we switched it up a little bit, talked about a few new things, but that's this week's on the Hoggie Shuffle, you know? We're just getting started with the off-season coverage. Obviously, you guys are watching. You're here for the real football talk. We're going to break it down next week. We're going to hit the bottom 15 teams taken in the draft. I guess it'd be 17 more teams. There's 32 picks, but we'll talk about those. A couple more good segments. Maybe we can talk about top receivers in NFL history. Talk about those guys. We did running back this week and go like that. Obviously, we'll throw some more O-line, D-line stuff in there too. Get the Hoggie Shuffle going to its roots. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching the episode. We'll be back next week. And as always, you stay square.
Stay nasty.
Let's go, baby.
Guys, good job. That was awesome.
That was a lot.
We got